Want to know the 5 regrets you want to avoid on your deathbed? Then keep watching. I'll share those with you in this video. Hi everyone, my name is Jacques Snyman and I create videos to help you create a more secure future for you and your family. Today I want to share something impactful that I came across yet again over the last week or so, and that is a book written by Bronnie Ware, and the book is entitled Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. And I read the book again and really just realized again that there are certain fundamental changes we can make in life to, in the end, be less regretful if you want, more contented at the end of our journeys. This is serious stuff, and I know it's a little bit deep stuff, but I want to share that with you anyways. So all the credit for this goes to Bronnie Ware, and as I say, her book is called Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. Bronnie happens to be a palliative care nurse, and what she did over time is that she journaled the experiences of people in the last couple of weeks of their life, and then she asked them pertinent questions about, so what do you regret? And some of this is not surprising, some of this was kind of shocking to me. So what are those 5 regrets that people typically have at the end of their lives? The very first one, the most important one, is that people say, I wish I had the courage to live a life truer to myself and not the life that others expected of me. That's a big one, guys. That just simply says, I will be regretful at the end of my life if I have lived the life according to expectations from others as opposed to what I really wanted, who I really was, and therefore made decisions based on that in terms of where my life would go. So the very first one is not living life according to your own being, your own wishes, your own needs, your own dreams, your own wants, but rather according to what others and society at large wanted from you. The second one is simply, I wish I hadn't worked so damn hard. That was the second thing people suggested and said to her at the end of their lives. Nobody, guys, nobody on their deathbed says, I wish I'd spent more time at the office. That's the second one. The third one is, I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. And for me, that's a particular challenge. I'm technical by nature. I've got a technical background. I'm a damn engineer, right? So I find it particularly challenging to express my feelings, especially when it gets really intimate and really close. In other words, with my wife and the close family and so forth. That's another regret that people had. The fourth one is, I wish I'd stayed in touch with my friends, my mates. A real regret. That boils down to relationships. That's the fourth thing. And then the last thing, the fifth thing that they said on their deathbed is, I wish I had let myself be happier. That's another wow. Okay, so if those are the 5 regrets, what's the solution, guys? What could I do? What could I do to not have those 5 typical regrets at the end of my life? All right, so here's the list of 5 things, and I've adjusted it a little bit and edited it a little bit. Remember, this is my viewpoint on Bronnie's book, and I'm making this personal. I'm getting authentic here and sharing with you what I experience. This is the not so easy but doable and worthwhile 5 steps to actually get to the end of your life and have less regrets or be much more fulfilled if you want. Embrace authenticity. In other words, be yourself much more often, right? So how do you do that in practice? When you make decisions, specifically those important decisions, and I had this experience again in the last week or so, right? There was a specific invitation that we were invited to, and I said to my wife, you know what, I'm at a point in my life where I don't have to do things to please others anymore. I don't want to go. In the end, we decided to go because there was more benefit in that for the family group. I kind of questioned that kind of decision. So be more authentic. Make choices based on what you want as opposed to what others expect of you. That's the first rule, be authentic. The second one is simple, balance work and life. I know that we all need to be committed to our vocation, to our profession, to our jobs, right? And that, in the end, pays the rent and it buys the bread and milk, right? So you got to commit to that. You got to work to live. But try to balance that and be pertinent and be critical in terms of how much time do you spend on that. And here I'm actually talking to myself, right? I haven't learned this one. properly yet. So let's see how we can practically spend less time at work and more time with the family and friends. That's the second thing. The third thing is express yourself. Again, I said to you that I find it especially difficult to just express my feelings. In another video in future, I will do a video on what does that mean? How do you actually verbalize emotions and feelings, what the differences are, and I'll give you a little tool to actually make that easier and better for yourself. What I find, and again from my background and my technical training, is I find it difficult to express my feeling towards others. That's the third thing they say you should do. Don't bottle them up. Rather express your emotions or have your emotions and feelings before they have you, right? Sometimes that even reflects, guys, in us in disease, right? If we bottle up those emotions all along inside of us. I'm not saying, sit at the boardroom table and cry every time you walk in, or shout and scream and, go on a rampage or anything like that. But what I am saying is express your feelings much more often. That's the third thing. The fourth thing is nurture your relationships. Here's two things in practice, right? It's the network that I specifically spoke to you about, in terms of that's the one thing that you need to tap in when you lose your job or your income dries up or your project terminates or whatever the case might be. Nurture those relationships. Make time for relationships, right? Those 5 minutes on a phone call, right? That quick 10, 15 minute cup of coffee after work or over lunch or whatever with a special colleague, just to connect again, just to say, hello, how's it? We mates, and how you doing? That kind of thing. Nurture those relationships. And it goes without saying that nurture the relationships that are closest to you, the family relationships, your intimate relationships, your wife and your kids in the close family. Look after those relationships. And the fifth thing is choose happiness. Happiness, guys, is an inside job. It's a choice. I know that there's a real bad Wild West world out there that you all have to survive in. And I know that there's bad stuff happening in the world right now as we speak. I understand all of that. So there is a context, and I get that. But I truly believe that it's a choice. When you get up in the morning, what do you choose to do? Do you choose to intend that this is going to be a great, successful, beautiful, livable day? Or do you mope and play the victim? Right? Those are the things that you need to be pertinent about in terms of yourself. Choose to be happier. Maybe that also implies that you leave a specific job that's a dead-end job. Maybe that means that you terminate certain relationships that have just become toxic or non-functional. Maybe that implies that you just simply adopt a more positive mindset. It could be as simple as that. This again goes back to the most important thing that I shared with you over this journey. The one thing that I suggested you do when the pauper hits the fan, or you get the news that you've been laid off or your project has been terminated, is to do the mindset work. Critically important. Do the mindset work. I truly believe that at the end of your life, if you do these 5 things from time to time, we don't do this every day, guys, but from time to time at least, take a pause, think through these 5 things, and just see how you can optimize your choices. How can you live a more authentic life? There's a whole area of research that has sprung up over the last 15, 20, 25 maybe years and so forth. That's all about positive psychology and authenticity. So look at those things and make sure that you just kind of take stock almost every now and then. Once a year is good, twice a year is better, 4 times a year, like every quarter, is even better. I want to share a last thought with you, and that is, us as human beings, we have 4 very specific basic needs. And you can go check out the research. There's many sources for this, but the person that says this or explains this best to me is Stephen Covey. He says you have to live, you have to love, you have to learn, and you have to leave a legacy, right? Those are the 4 needs of a human being. Living is just simply the physical things, right? So look after yourself. That's what I suggested before. That's exercise, that's healthy living, that's just literally looking after yourself. The loving part, all about relationships, came out in this book as well. So nurture your relationships, right? The learning part, the mental part. We are human beings, we continually need to grow and learn. So focus on learning new things. Become a lifelong learner, right? And then the 4th thing, the very, very, very important one, is leave a legacy. The question there that you need to answer from time to time for yourself is, what will be different in this world because you happen to have walked this earth for a little bit during your lifetime? So hoping that this makes sense for you, hoping that this adds value for you. If you like this, please hit the like button, subscribe, drop me a mail. Hope this has worked for you. We'll chat again in a couple of days.